All right, Jacob, so we have a new player in the race over the face that you've been calling for the last 2 years. That's been the phrase that we've coined.
Yep.
It's Oakley and Meta collabing into their newest line of smart glasses.
Yep. Just happened today.
Yeah, just today. What can you tell us about it?
Well, it's big. You know, the race for the face is continuing to heat up and build a ton of momentum. First, we saw Ray-Ban Meta. We've seen other glasses from Amazon. We've seen other glasses from Snap. And we've seen Nuance Audio from Essilor-Luxottica and a variety of others. But Oakley being one of the biggest brands in glasses and certainly in sports.
Yeah.
This is another signal that, Meta and Essilor-Luxottica, who owns Oakley, are certainly leaning into smart glasses, taking that mainstream. Another thing that I think that it really signals is that, function is a very important part of smart glasses. It has to be useful. It has to have AR. It has to have audio. It has to be able to be helpful and useful, but it has to have different styles. And so when you look at the functionality, it's very similar to Ray-Ban Metas, but it's a different brand. It's a slightly different aesthetic. So I think it signals that fashion and function are both essential.
Yeah, I mean, they're very different. Ray-Ban and Oakley are two of the highest selling brands in eyewear stores. So, them being two very different brands and having two different target markets of folks, like, what do you think the difference is and what's stopping Oakley from kind of catering to all of the different styles they have in athletic glasses, and what's making them look more like Ray-Bans, because they're not necessarily supposed to look like Ray-Bans, right?
Yeah, so I think, to restate what you're saying a little bit, if you walked into a lens crafters today or a sunglass hut and you looked at Ray-Bans and you looked at Oakleys, they're going to be very different aesthetics. Yet when we look at the smart glasses, they actually look pretty similar.
Right.
So, and why is that? So I actually want to show you something. I'll kind of circle it here on my screen for you. But when you look at the insides of these glasses, so obviously we're a technology company, really curious about the fashion side, but really we're a technology company, and our job is to make the technology invisible,
right,
and also allow these brands to express the uniqueness and the variety that they can bring. But right here on the screen, what I have is a internal shot of what's going on inside of the Oakley Metas. And the biggest thing that's limiting the different types of designs and why these don't look like kind of the classic Oakleys, the ones that you really see baseball players wearing,
right,
bikers wearing, things like that, is because of this flex connector right here that goes from temple to temple, and it connects those the arms where the batteries are and where there's processing and where the cameras and microphones are. It connects those together, and really importantly, right here in the middle, you see those two, we call those pogo pins, or we call them pads.
Right.
What those are used for is actually recharging the devices. And so there's a lot of mechanical and electrical limitations on things like bend radiuses and things like press fit that you need in order to make this work. And what that's doing is it's causing these glasses to all have to look kind of similar, and it's creating a limitation on design freedom, because it's putting the needs of the electrical mechanical assembly ahead of the needs of the industrial designers. So, my guess is that there's a desire to make the glasses more standard Oakleys.
Yeah.
But for this was more about like inching in that direction of Ray-Ban, new brand Oakley, a little bit more athletic and sporty. And over time, you're going to see much more movement in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, that's what customers are going to eventually want, is just a larger array of design. So what does that mean for wireless power and new current? Where does that come into play to kind of help really push the momentum towards freedom of design in these Oakley Meta glasses?
Yeah, so the limitations in design are because of electromechanical, like we were talking about. And so when you bring in more advanced technologies like wireless power, especially miniaturized wireless power, it starts opening up design freedom. And what you're going to start seeing is a much wider variety of glasses types, because you can really make the technology invisible without having to bury it right here, just in that nose bridge, where then all the nose bridges have to look the same. So what I expect to see is moving the power interface, so meaning where the glasses get charged from the charger, instead of being in the nose bridge, I think that it's going to be in the arms. I also think that what you're going to see is dual arm charging. So I think there will be batteries in both temples.
Mm-hmm.
That allows for longer battery life. It also allows for different ways of constructing the front frame so that you can have those cool all glass Oakley wraparounds that you see a lot of people wearing.
Mm-hmm.
That's really not possible with today's mechanical electrical limitations of pogo pin chargers.
Sure.
But with wireless power and data, you're able to start moving around the internal pieces. It's invisible to the user, but it's also really enabling to the designers to enable a much broader array of designs.
That sounds really promising, and we're really excited to see where these glasses end up in the race for the face.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is one of the biggest brands in all of glasses. You can see that, Patrick Mahomes is on it, Mbappe's on it. I mean, these are the biggest. These are the biggest players in their sports that are hyping this. So this is just huge momentum for the race for the face. It is here. It's not about AR. It's about putting AI on your face, getting the benefits with fashion, invisible technology. This is the wave of the future. It's super, super exciting. And this is just one more heavy hitter entering the race with Oakley.
All right. Thanks, Jacob.
Thank you.